Good afternoon, and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearings for Suburban Panel 2. We are a City of Ottawa quasi-judicial tribunal that holds public hearings to consider Planning Act applications, including minor variances to the zoning requirements and consent to sever land. Our hearings are now in person at Ben Franklin Place, 101 Centrepoint Drive. We also enable remote participation by video conferencing for our registered speakers. We are live streaming on YouTube, and the video will be archived and available for future viewing by the public. My name is Julianne Wright, and I will be chairing today's hearing, and you can address me by my name or as chair. With me are my fellow panel members, George Barrett, Heather McLean, and Jay Baltz is joining us remotely. Not on the screen right now, though, but is he there? Okay. The procedure for the hearing today will be as follows. Listed on the agenda and appearing on screen from time to time are the applications we'll hear today. For the sake of efficiency, I may deal with the agenda items in a different order. Panel members have reviewed the planning reports and any written submissions in support of or in opposition to each of the applications. Today, we'll hear any oral submissions relating to the applications. As part of the statutory public notification requirements, each applicant was required to post a sign on the property in question before the hearing. They also had to confirm in writing that they did so, or they'll need to swear or affirm an oath today that they fulfilled the sign posting requirements. Otherwise, we may have to adjourn or postpone the hearing. I would like to confirm with our Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer that indeed we have received all the statutory declarations.
Yes, Madam Chair, we have.
Thank you. The panel may ask for a brief presentation of an application followed by questions for the applicant and or the applicant's agent and the city planning staff. We will then hear from members of the public who have registered to speak, and we may have questions for them. Finally, the applicant who has the burden of proof will have an opportunity to make final comments in reply. Please address your comments to me as the chair, starting with your name and or spelling and spelling it if necessary for the record. All presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Any exceptions will be at my discretion. At the end of the hearing, the panel may either make an oral decision or we may reserve our decision, which means it won't be delivered today. In either case, and within 10 days of the hearing, the Committee of Adjustment will send the official written decision and any reasons for it to all parties, participants, and anyone else who has requested a copy. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure we'll be following today? All right, then we have several applications to hear, but first we need to deal with some preliminary and procedural matters. Are there any declarations of interest by any of the panel members for any of the applications before the committee this week? Jay, no. No declarations. Thank you very much. We have 2 sets of minutes to confirm, those for July 8th and July 22nd, 2025. I would like to ask the panel members if they have any comments on the minutes of either date. No. Jay? No. There are no comments on the minutes. I would like to ask the panel if they would like to confirm the minutes of July 8th and July 22nd. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Those 2 sets of minutes are approved. Thank you. Next on our agenda is to address any items which have been requested to be adjourned. The committee has received 2 adjournment requests. The first is item number 1 at 60 Rossland Avenue. The City View and Ryan Farm Community Association has requested an adjournment as they believe incorrect information was provided by the applicant in their cover letter. So I'm wondering if Ms. Prott or Ms. Wilson from the Neighborhood Association are available. And I would also like the applicant, Jillian Simpson, to come down.
Madam Chair, the City View Community Association, oh, they are online.
Is Ms. Wilson or Ms. Prott available? Or can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, we're here.
Okay.
Which one are we talking about here? Is this 11 St. Clair?
No, this is 60 Rossland.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
We're-
Sorry. thought I heard somebody. So could you actually just speak to the request for adjournment for 60 Rossland? Why you're asking for it? Ms. Pratt, Ms. Wilson.
I don't think we asked for an adjournment for 60 Rossland.
Okay, I thought I saw that. Maybe my
Okay.
mistake then.
No, let's see. No, I think we are ready to go ahead with this one.
Okay, then that's fine. Ms. Simpson, you can go back and we'll just push this down to the regular part of the agenda and we'll hear it later. Thank you. Sorry for that.
I'm sorry if we confused you. Sorry.
Not a problem. The next item that request for adjournment that we have is number 5 at 11 St. Clair Avenue. This request for adjournment has been brought forward by the applicant himself. So Mr. Aldahan, if you're available, come down. Hi. So it's our understanding that you've made a request to adjourn the application sine die.
Yes.
Okay. Do any members of the planning staff have any comments on this adjournment request?
No, no comments, but if they're gonna revise plans, we'd be happy to have a chat with them before they come back in.
Okay. And do any members of the public, either here or in person or online, have any comments on this adjournment request? Signing up.
Is this 111 St. Clair?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we're just curious as to why there is an adjournment request. And we just like to say that there's been a lot of adjournment requests lately, and I don't know if the city could have better when these applications come in, whether all the documents could be served properly then, so that we don't have to keep doing this, because it's not just our time, and we're volunteers, but we have to prepare for something like this, and I think this is the third time, and people like you have to prepare for it, and people are being paid for it. So we're just wondering why there's so many adjournment requests, and specifically why this one,
Okay, so I can't completely answer that, but I can ask Mr. Aldahan specifically why
Yeah, so I believe there's a issue with a single tree on our property. And there's issues because we have a side setback. So we're working with our team. We were working on either managing something to figure it out. The arborist told us that we were too close to the tree, and we were either going to do shoring of some sort or a cantilever, and neither of it is going to work. So we are planning on reworking our site plan and revising our setback accordingly. So it does take time because my engineers have to rework and see what's possible. So
yeah, I understand. Does that answer your question at all? I know not completely, Ms. Wilson, but
yes, that's
the reason.
good. Yeah, it gives us a bit of an idea why it's happening.
Yeah.
Thank
to
you.
clarify, like the first time we were going to go through with it, we didn't have any problems with the tree. Our second time before the adjournment, we got email a day or two before the arbitrage letting us know that there was a problem with this tree. We had to adjourn it for the second time, and then we proposed shoring and cantilever options, and still we felt like it wasn't enough. So we still have to revise. We're going to be revising our entire site plan. So
yeah, then you have to get the team all back together and in line, and yeah. Okay, do any panel members have any questions on this adjournment request?
thank you.
So I would like to ask the panel if they are in favor of this application being adjourned sine die. All those in favor, please raise your hand. So this application has been adjourned sine die. Thank you very much, Mr. Aldahan.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so turning to the applications that are before us today, we will first deal with some unopposed applications. Unopposed applications are those that are straightforward and recommended for quick approval if there are no objections. To qualify to be considered an unopposed application, the following criteria must be met. There are no objections or concerns from the parties, that is the applicant and the city or the public. There are no amendments required. There are no registered speakers. The signposting declaration has been received. The applicant or their agent has confirmed that they agree with all the requested conditions, if any. And finally, there are no questions from the committee panel members. The applications which are on the unopposed application agenda today are items number 3 at 1270 Kilborn Avenue and 2161 Lemira Street. Number 4, 94 Willow Glen Drive, and number 6, 1469 Youville Drive. Are there any objections or comments to these applications by anyone present in the chambers or online? You have a comment? Okay. You wanted to, sorry? Okay. So I guess we will bump that into the regular agenda then?
That's correct, Madam. Chair.
Okay. So that'll come off the unopposed agenda. So therefore, we are just as a panel addressing numbers 3 and number 4. All those in favor of approving of these two applications, please raise your hand. So items number 3 and number 4 are approved. So I'm going to have to come back to number 6. Just bear with me. We will now proceed with the remaining applications in order, starting with item number 1 at 60 Rossland Avenue. This is an application to subdivide the property into 2 parcels of land to construct 2 detached dwellings with reduced lot widths, lot areas, rear yard setbacks, front-facing garage setback, and increased driveway width. So, Ms. Simpson, please confirm or state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Jillian Simpson and my address is 420 O'Connor Street.
Thank you. Would you like to give us a brief description of your application today? We'll have 5 minutes.
Certainly, yes. And we have prepared a presentation. So we'll wait for that to come up. Okay, thank you very much. So hello, I'm Jillian Simpson, planner at Photon Planning Design, and I'm joined virtually by Scott Elaine on behalf of the owner of 60 Rossland Avenue. We're here to present concurrent consent and minor variance applications required to facilitate the severance of the property into 2 parcels and the redevelopment of the site with 2 single detached residential dwellings. Originally scheduled last month, this was adjourned to clarify a few items within the submission package. Next slide. So the subject site is located on the south side of Rossland Avenue and currently contains 1 single detached dwelling. The site area is 910 square meters with 330.48 meters in width. Next slide. The application proposes to sever the site to create 2 separate parcels for a residential development. Following the severance, each lot would be developed with a single detached dwelling of 2 full stories. Next slide. So I'd like to highlight the existing context along Rossland Avenue, which features similarly scaled infill development, as shown by these 4 examples, both east and west of the site. Next slide, please. Further, this map illustrates the lot fabric of Rossland Avenue, where similarly sized parcels can be found, all of which are undersized lots per the existing R1FF zone. Next slide, please. So here you can see the proposed renders, and they illustrate the similar precedents shown in the previous slides. Next slide. So the application for consent seeks to sever the existing lot into 2 parcels as shown here. Next slide. Both the severed and retained lots would be rendered deficient in the required minimum lot area of 600 square meters and width of 19.5 meters for a detached dwelling. As such, minor variances are requested to permit a reduced lot area of 455 square meters and a width of 15.24 meters for each parcel. Next slide. The proposal meets the relevant criteria for lot development as it promotes efficient infill on municipal services, conforms with the policies of the neighborhood designation of the official plan, results in new infill lots on suitable land with existing services and infrastructure, provides lots that are regular in shape and capable of accommodating new development, similar to the surrounding area, And while the proposal will result in non-compliance with the lot width and lot area, minor variance applications have been submitted to seek relief. Next slide. So the property is currently zoned R1FF, and our minor variance application requests a reduced lot width, as mentioned, of 15.24 meters, a reduced lot area of 455 square meters, reduced minimum rear yard setback from 8.36 meters to 7.75 meters for 58 Rossland, and 6.8 meters at 60 Rossland Avenue. Further, a reduced garage setback from the edge of the landing is requested from 0.6 meters to 0 meters. And finally, an increased driveway width from 5.5 to 7 meters. Next slide. The application was assessed against the 4 tests. And so number 1, the proposal meets the intended form and context of the neighborhood designation. Proposal provides general intensification that's functionally and aesthetically compatible with the existing context. 2, the variances are keeping with the general intent of the zoning bylaw. The lot width and lot areas remain functional. The parcel's lot depth can accommodate a detached dwelling while providing sufficient area for driveways, walkways, tree planting, soft landscaping, and transition to the abutting properties. The rear yard setbacks provide viable space on each site to meet rear yard soft landscaping requirements and the standard rear yard setback for detached dwellings. The 7-meter double-wide driveway remains consistent with the built form and driveway conditions in the neighborhood. And the 0-meter setback from the front landing to the garage maintains adequate pedestrian space between vehicles, the landing, and the garage. The front door remains visible from the street. I'm just wrapping up. The variances are desirable as they make efficient use of the land in a functional layout, proposing a residential use compatible with the existing context, and it contributes to provincial and city intensification goals. Finally, the variances will not create adverse impacts on abutting properties or the wider neighborhood. Can I finish up?
Yeah.
My last sentence.
Go ahead.
All rear hardscaping will be permeable paving, and new French well collection basins will be added to help manage runoff and drainage. Therefore, these can be considered minor in nature. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. There are a number of conditions that the City of Ottawa has requested be attached to this application. I would like to know if you agree with those conditions.
Through you, Madam Chair, I believe we are looking to discuss the stormwater management condition and possibly push back on this as a requirement.
So that's number 5. I'm wondering if we can have planning staff address the rationale behind the inclusion of that condition.
The property is within City View neighborhood where there are stormwater issues. And though the lot is severed to only add a detached dwelling on each of on the severed and the retained lot, it's still intensification. And because of the known stormwater issues, we want the stormwater management report on the application.
Okay. Do you agree with that, Ms. Simpson?
Through you, Chair, I may request my colleague provide a follow-up response. Scott on the call, Scott Elaine.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity to speak on this. I'm Scott Elaine. I'm a senior planner at FOTEN. Apologies for attending virtually for this one. So the following condition after 5 is number 6, which speaks to the requirement for grading and drainage plan. It's our expectation that through the permit process and through the registration process, that should adequately address the risk of drainage on the property. As my colleague had mentioned, various measures are contemplated, including the use of permeable paving in the rear yard and the use of a French drain or weeping tile to further mitigate and further direct the drainage flows. Again, this would all be reviewed with staff and would be necessary for acceptance prior to a registration being offered or a building permit being offered. So to that end, the stormwater management report, which is the subject of condition 5, seems to add extra delay and cost to the proponent with something that is already being covered. So that is our assessment there, and willing to discuss further if you have any questions. I see Ms. O'Connell has also joined.
Okay, Ms. McConnell, you have your hand up. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just to point out that from an engineering perspective, the two conditions are different in nature, the request for the grading and drainage plan versus the stormwater management condition. The grading and drainage is largely to protect the impact on adjacent properties and how grading is done on the property, whereas the stormwater condition is to control the amount that flows to the city right-of-way. And so there's a number of different ways that that can be sort of slowed down or dealt with on an on-site property basis, but that's the distinction that we're looking to ensure that there's not impacts on the stormwater functioning in the City View neighborhood on the right-of-ways. And that is because of past issues with flooding in the City View neighborhood. So they are two separate and distinct conditions. And stormwater management, there's a number of ways that the applicant can address that, and it may be through the ideas that they've already discussed, but we are looking for an engineer to do a bit of a deep dive in the stormwater to make sure that the infiltration is done properly to mitigate any of the storm coming onto the neighborhood.
Okay.
Through
Go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. O'Connell, for that overview. I realize we're speaking planner to planner about engineering matters, so I don't want us to wade too far into the details, and I appreciate your explanation. And maybe if you can just, for my client's comfort, maybe weigh in on a bit of the scope of this stormwater management report, if possible, as in, is this sort of a brief that would be more relatable to a small infill approach like this rather than what you would see for, say, a site plan control application for a larger development?
Go ahead, Ms. McConnell.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make sure that you were controlling the discussion. Yes, to answer your short question, yes. But typically the requirements that we ask to satisfy this condition as related to the severance are potentially less than what we would get as part of a site plan control application. In terms of the exact details, I think the first step is determining there's some math that's involved in quantifying how much stormwater needs to be dealt with on an on-site or off-site manner. But I can't provide much more details than that, except to say anecdotally, I suspect that the requirements are less intensive than that we request through a site plan control application, if that provides any comfort to your client.
So is this a condition that we might see more frequently or all the time within the City View neighborhood and other neighborhoods that have stormwater issues or drainage issues?
It has come up due to issues with flooding in the City View neighborhood. So I think staff that's certainly one of the neighborhoods that's flagged to make sure that we want to accommodate intensification responsibly with limited impacts on the neighborhood from a stormwater management perspective. So you can expect, and I think your clients can expect in City View, it's one area that we'll be focusing on is the stormwater management. Because there's no storm pipes basically in the street, and the ditches have been filled over time, which has impacted the system from a holistic perspective. And then the staff are aware of other areas where we're including that condition. I can say generally there's a lot of work going on stormwater management on a broader scale related to an infill and intensification. So I would suspect that we are going to see potentially that condition crop up more frequently than we had in the past.
Okay. I'm wondering then if any panel members have any questions for the applicant with respect to perhaps that condition, but also just generally the presentation in the consent and minor variance applications. Mr. Barrett.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. O'Connell, is the city looking at clearing the ditches and doing some work on mediating the problem of stormwater in this area? Is that one of the possibilities? Just a simple, can you clarify whether that's one of the steps that might be taken?
I think so. I just don't know on the timing of that work that has to be done in the right of way, and it's sort of to mitigate some of the work that's been done over decades of improvements to people's properties. But I believe that's on the work plan.
Thank you.
Mr. Baltz, you have a question?
Thank you. Yes. let me know if I break up because I'm on a hotspot rather than a real Wi-Fi here. I'm just interested in variances D and I, which are the driveway widths, which seem to speak to the same issue. Why not keep them 7 meters as they approach the driveway, but as they approach the garages, but have them 5.5 meters further towards the street and as they cross the city land? That would increase the permeable land in the front yards and the green space.
Ms. Simpson?
Through you, Madam Chair. So the intent of the driveway width in the zoning bylaw is to provide adequate space for landscaping and tree conservation, and we do meet both of these provisions through the requested variance to increase the driveway width.
If I may add as well to that, through you, Madam Chair, on our original approach through the original tree information report, we received comments from Miss Young in Forestry about the fact that we were going to need to remove a tree regarding the location of the driveway. We since revised that in order to ensure a adequate critical root zone, which is reflected in the updated report. Again, to that end, regarding the driveway, and with regard to the width, furthermore, it's just in nature of, as far as the typology that's being proposed and the type of tenants that secure these, we're looking to mitigate overflow of street parking, which is a concern we've heard in the City View neighborhood as well.
Mr. Baltz, any further questions? Does that answer your question?
I haven't heard you addressing the impact on stormwater management.
Thanks through you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the follow-up on that. So again, I think what Ms. O'Connell has said in terms of contextualizing the distinction between these two conditions and contextualizing what's required. As we've made clear in our presentation, we think that overall this proposal represents good planning, and if this condition is something that's going to become standard and something that we will in the future advise clients about, that this will be coming and should be expected with regard to applications in this neighborhood, we'll defer to the committee on that. Again, I need to be clear that I don't have the engineering background. What I've been indicated from our project team is everything lines up, and if that's the case, then it should be simple to satisfy this requirement. So, like I said, in terms of the spirit of the overall proposal, meeting good planning, if the condition is something that the committee is having difficulty with regard to the overall approach and the proposed widening driveways, I would suggest that maybe that be considered by the committee as a path forward.
Mr.
Thank you,
Baltz?
Madam Chair.
Okay, so I had one question again, also with respect to the driveway width. You state in the presentation as well as the cover letter that you feel that the 7-meter width is consistent with the built form and driveway conditions observed in the neighborhood. And I guess I'd like to ask you if you have any specific examples in the vicinity of the property where a lot has been severed, so you've got a frontage of 15.2 roughly meters, where the driveway exceeds the 5.5 maximum required width.
If we could pull up the presentation, I know we had some slides which represent this, and of course, Madam Chair, I'm aware that you would have seen them when we showed them, but I think they may help with the discussion if the coordinator can bring those up.
I believe it's slide 4. Thank you.
Thank you. So I don't have exact metrics before me to provide to you on the width of these driveways, but these are examples, and this is obvious when you go through, well, firstly, if you look at the date and context of these developments, they're newer builds. These are similar approaches to what we've shown, and again, this is when we look at the official plan test of minor variances, we refer to the neighborhood designation and the requirement for new development to be compatible with the context and of a similar low-rise scale. And both of these are achieved. Again, not being able to confirm the exact width of these driveways, you can see what's been done here is essentially landscaping, perhaps after the fact. I can't comment on that, to secure what is a viable driveway width for these developments. Again, shown to be consistent, it allows for street parking to take place in between units. The location of these driveways intersperse, which is similar to what we've shown here. And again, if you look at the top left corner, the bottom left corner, and the bottom right corner are all examples of oversized lots being reduced to double lots for detached dwellings. I'll also add, if I may, in the R1 FF zone, semi-detached are not permitted. So in terms of adding intensification to these neighborhoods, the option is having a more compact format of detached dwelling. That's all, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I have nothing further. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. I'm wondering, I'll turn to planning staff now. Do you have any comments on the application? Ms. Ankaran?
No concerns, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Panel members have any questions for planning staff?
No, thank you.
Okay, no. So we'll now go to the public to hear any comments that they might have. I do know that the City View Neighborhood Association, I believe, is probably going to be online. So Ms. Wilson, I believe you're going to be addressing us?
Yes.
Hi.
Yes, I'm here. Jill is with me here because her
Okay.
thing wasn't working at home, so we're both here together. I see now why we're confused with the adjournment thing, because we did ask for it in the beginning when we were talking about the 3-story.
Last month.
No
But
worries.
we confirmed that today with Jillian, and she said that it was the basement was counted in there. So and then we also say that 5 variance is a lot, not minor. And in Toronto, an applicant must provide good reasoning as to why a variance is necessary or unavoidable. Okay, so in City View, as you've heard, our main concern is the drainage right now. There is a ditch rehabilitation project going, and I think Mr. Baltz asked that question. But it's been delayed for a year, and it's over a 10-year span. There was a mention in the engineering plan. It states that Rossland Avenue along the site frontage is undergoing stormwater management renewal in 2026 under that project. But it's not undergoing it until 2031. So just to correct that, it's in phase 5. We put a map in our presentation that we sent to you. So it's in phase 5 and it's 2031 when that'll happen. But we do consider drainage issues paramount in this application. City View does not have storm sewers. According to the City View neighborhood has known drainage issues as a result of lack of stormwater infrastructure and ditches being modified over time. The proposed development including variances would result in significant increases in lot coverage, with the potential to worsen the existing situation without additional stormwater management measures. Those conditions that are in there, Jill and I have fought for years to have those included, and over the last few years, it's been recognized. And so that when somebody asks to have that taken out, we sort of, we don't like that. These massive infills on the reduced lot sizes with double paved driveways, reduced vegetation and removal of mature trees are affecting the natural absorption and infiltration. The reduced permeable surfaces alone can comprise our delicate system. The existing house was constructed on a mound and backfilled. This was to save the costs of excavating into the existing bedrock. An existing average grade for each property must be established. This plan, and these are from drawings that we were sent, the plan seems to indicate from the side yard elevation drawings that the grade is highest in the front yard, but gradually slopes downward to the backyard of the property. This would send overland water to the adjacent property. So we're not quite sure of that. So if If you could clarify that for us, if it's higher in the front, lower in the back, or lower in the front and higher in the back. And because this property slopes west to east and north to south, site grading will be challenging and require special attention to prevent flooding on downstream properties. So as you saw in one of those drawings, the next door neighbor, there's two developments there. When they were developing that a few years ago, they didn't pay attention to that, and they're not on as much of a hill as this existing property at 60 Rossland is. And the neighbor downstream from it flooded and had a lot of dirt and things dumped onto her property because of the water.
And there's no ditch.
And there's no ditch. This property is on a hill, which may require, that's the retaining walls between them while they're building to prevent that runoff. It has ditches and culverts that must be maintained, especially during construction. Mud from, well, we're just talking about that mud again that went down hill. So that's really all that we're concerned with, is the drainage problems, because City View has a great problem with drainage. So if you could address that for us, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm wondering, Ms. Simpson, could you just clarify the slope of the land? Is it accurately shown on the drawings? Which direction it goes?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm going to refer to my colleague, Mr. Alain, on the call.
Thank you, Jillian, and through you, Madam Chair. We spoke back and forth with Ms. Wilson on her concerns. Jillian had called her today, and then yesterday we had sent a response, and I think that's where the clarification of some of those other outstanding issues comes from. Regarding the drainage, I think based on what we've heard from the city today and what we've heard from the kind of local knowledge from the CA, it's clear that there is some merit to the study outlined in condition 5. So like I said earlier, I'm remiss to let this project, die on that hill, let's say, pun not intended, of course. Regarding the grading, so as the city staff can verify, no grading plan or permit would be approved for a proposal that allows drainage onto neighboring sites. That's a standard condition on all severances, as you're all aware. Particular to the elevations provided, I don't want to speak outside my level of experience and on how drainage is to take place, but I can say with confidence that that's something that would need to be resolved if it is an issue, whether through retaining walls or additional measures prior to a permit being released and prior to the severance being registered. And one more time, I will refer to our ability to still provide generous landscaping in terms of 7.75 meter and 6.8 meter respective rear yard setbacks with permeable paving in the rear yards, the weeping tile proposed in the rear yards, and again, a still substantial front yard area, both with mature tree or with trees possible on both lots through the proposal. So in terms of those elements, I do believe that the consideration of the drainage has taken place, but I once again will defer to staff on the fact that in order to proceed with this, they would want comfort on those elements on a more detailed level. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So back to the Neighborhood Association, I'm wondering if any panel members have questions for Ms. Wilson or Ms. Pratt.
No, thank you.
Jay or Mr. Baltz? Questions for the Neighborhood Association? No, okay. Thank you.
No.
So I had just one question for transportation engineering brought up by Ms. Wilson. I don't know if planning can answer this or just confirm when that storm water renewal project was actually going to be happening on Rossland. Does anybody know? Just to confirm, I know it says 2031, I guess, on the website, but do we have any comfort to be able to direct? Oh, Ms. O'Connell. Thank you.
Just to answer your question, Chair, I don't know, to be honest. Outside of the information that we've been provided, I don't have that at my fingertips of the timing on that project.
Okay. Okay. So sorry, but I can't completely confirm that for you, Ms. Wilson. So I'll go back to the applicant now if you'd like to make any final comments on your application.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, once again, we'd just like to thank the panel firstly for bearing with us as we recirculated to capture the full extent of the variances. We don't like to waste the panel's time on that regard. And then also we'd like to thank staff, both planning and forestry, for helping us get this into shape. And again, the community association and staff for the conversation about drainage. But other than that, I think that you have all the information before you, so we'll leave that with you.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to ask the panel if we would like to reserve our decision on this application. So our decision then will be to reserve, and you'll get our written decision within 10 days.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the second application we're going to hear today is item number 2 at 365 Forest Street. This is an application to permit an increased building height for the construction of 2 13-story buildings, 1 mixed use and 1 residential. I'm looking for the applicant, Tamara Nahal,
Hello, Madam Chair.
possibly Jamie Posen. Okay. I'd ask you to confirm or state your name, but I think we just did that. Would you like to give us a brief description of your application today? You'll have 5 minutes.
Yes, I'd be happy to do so. I do have a presentation ready, so I'm happy to present. And I'm also happy to just answer questions if that's preferable.
I know I don't. Do you have anything? I think that's probably fine.
Okay.
Mr. Baltz, you're okay with that? So we'll just go straight then to questions. Does planning staff, first of all, have any comments on this application?
No comments, but happy to answer questions.
Okay. And now we'll go to the public. Does public have any comments? Either anyone in person or online wanting to speak to this application? I don't see anybody, but I do know that we did receive some written comments, and I want to acknowledge the fact that we did, and I can see from you nodding that you obviously received them as well. So I just want to make sure that that member of the public is aware that they were received and reviewed prior to this. So does anyone on the panel have any questions for planning or the applicants on this proposal?
No, thank you.
Mr. Baltz?
Yeah, just to confirm that this is exactly the same as the previously approved plan through zoning bylaw amendment, except the amenity space has been added and it counts as a technical 13th story. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, that's correct. The amenity space on the roof is added to complement primarily the rooftop pool on one tower. We could build a pool on the roof, but it would not be able to have any amenity space such as washrooms or change rooms. So the moment we enclose those rooms with 4 walls and a roof, that counts as a story. And although we did let our client know this, they were more comfortable having those on the same level, which then under the zoning bylaw, that counts as a story. So as a result, we are adding amenity space to both buildings. So one will have a pool with associated amenities such as a gym, sauna, lounge, washrooms, and change rooms. And then the other tower won't have a pool, but it will have additional amenity space because in whole, the client did feel that additional amenity space was necessary to make the building more attractive to potential renters. They felt that they needed something extra to compete in the rental market.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Baltz?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to, because we got comments on the height and the impact, but this has already been approved and really the only change is the amenity space on the roof. And I just wanted to make sure that was made clear here. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, I have one last point. It is not the exact same building. I should perhaps clarify that. It's actually slightly slimmer. So the building footprint, both the tower and the podium, have actually been pulled back slightly. As the detailed design progressed, the client realized that the units were at a size where they would not be affordable. So the building itself has been slimmed. It still fits within the zoning schedule. There is plenty of, plenty of extra space now. So the landscaped area will be increasing. And the building shape itself is slightly slimmer, but as we've noted, 1 story taller. So the perceived impacts, I would assess it to be actually reduced due to the slimming of the 2 buildings.
Okay, so any other questions? Oh, Mr. Barrett.
Just to clarify, are both buildings going to be tightened up, or is it just the one?
Both buildings, one building, I would say is more noticeable, but actually, if I could ask, the presentation has one slide where I do a comparison, and I will just pull out my notes so I can direct you to pull up slide, just a moment, slide 8. If we take a look on slide 8. Yes, here we go. So I've outlined the boundary of Area A. So Area A is where the 12 stories are permitted. You can see on the left, that one tower has been pulled back. But on the right, you can also see that tower has been pulled back. So both buildings have been slimmed in comparison to the zoning schedule itself. And if you go to slide 6, jumping around, thanks to the coordinator over here.
I see you.
Yes, so, oh, I'm sorry, the boundary of Area A in the previous slide was a little bit too big. It included Area B, that's my mistake. But the building itself elsewhere, it does get pulled back from the boundaries of Area A. So the shape of the building is ever so slightly smaller on, let's say the building on the right, one of the towers, it's been pulled back slightly, whereas the building closer to Richmond, it's been pulled back a little bit more noticeably for Area A and the other areas. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any questions, Ms. Plank? Okay. So I believe I asked planning already for their comments. So I guess I'll just go back to any additional comments to summarize, wrap up?
In general, this is, we have an approved and signed delegated authority report, signed site plan approval report. And we, have a zoning bylaw amendment. So this change is, when it comes to looking at the change, the scope is quite small. It's very limited. And we're just focusing on improving amenity space for the future tenants and ensuring really that the units are, we can get 10% affordable units through CMHC. So overall, a lot of positives on this file. We're seeing more landscaping introduced, and in summary, small change, big benefits.
Great, thanks very much. So I'll ask the panel if we would like to reserve our decision on this application. All those in favor of reserving, so you will get our written decision within 10 days.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Chair and panel.
So now we're going to go to item number 6, which had been on the unopposed, but I guess I'll call down Mr. Bluen, probably.
Good afternoon, Chair.
So if you could just state your name.
Yeah, it's Kenneth Blouin, address at 420 O'Connor Street.
So I guess I don't know if we need a presentation, if you want to just go ahead to the condition issue that you had.
Yeah, so from the applicant's side, we do not have any issues with the conditions, but from the benefiting landowners representative had some comments.
Okay, come on down.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
My name is Adam Thompson, THOMPSON. I'm a planner at Novatech Engineering. Our corporate address is 240 Michael Copeland Drive. Here representing the, what I'll call, I guess, the benefiting owner, 1465 Youville Drive, being the Myers Group. First want to say we do support the application. The severed portion is going to be conveyed to this property. And so we do have a vested interest in seeing this application move forward today, and we do support it. Our concern is over condition 1 in the staff report. And this is dealing with an encroachment issue that is tied specifically to 1465 Youville, not 1469 Youville. And we do acknowledge there is certainly an encroachment that is there, and Myers is willing to work with the city to rectify that. But the encroachment itself is really not part of the subject property that's part of the application. And technically it's really on city property, and therefore really not part of the application at all. So in our opinion, there are other mechanisms that the city can use to work with our client, with the Myers Group, to rectify that situation, and that it's really not necessary to include that as a condition of the severance and tie the actual severance itself to this situation that again is really not part of the application. So our request would be to have that condition removed from the staff report and from the decision. If the committee guess doesn't agree with that position, alternatively we would request that the condition perhaps be revised to remove the first paragraph and thus in requiring the city to work with the proponent to come up with an encroachment agreement in that case. But the first position would be that the condition can and should be removed.
Right. So I'm wondering if we can speak to that, planning staff. Ms. Yang.
Sure. So this conditions imposed from last hearing because we noticed encroachment issues. So we had 2 conditions, which you can enter an encroachment agreement with the city, or you can have whatever is on the city property to be removed. But we're okay to be this condition to be removed. As I said, yeah.
Okay. All right, and that would certainly is exactly what you want. Do any members of the panel have any questions with respect to this and completely removing that condition? I'm not seeing any panel members. No, okay. Do we have the ability to remove that on the floor, or should we reserve?
Madam Chair, you can, if you're reserving your decision, you can reserve your decision on both.
Well, this was originally on the unopposed list. I think we should reserve it. So we will reserve. I'll ask the panel members, would you like to reserve on this decision? So we can. Yes, okay. So we will reserve our decision so we can speak about it. So you'll receive our written decision and reasons for it within 10 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So I believe that concludes today's hearing. Thank you very much.